Hello everyone, welcome back to A Wild Approach. My name is Macy. In today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I thought that it would be nice to kind of show the process that we took to create a privacy screen. The reason we wanted a privacy screen that was on wheels is because in this area, we just don't know if this is actually where we want the privacy screen permanently. We're not really sure where we want it. And so it's nice to be able to move it around and it not be permanently attached to the concrete or permanently attached to the retaining wall or anything like that. I do want to talk about how to get started with this project because you will want to know some measurements. Now, we decided to create this privacy screen to be a little bit shorter than my husband's height. And really, that's just how tall the frame is. But once you put the frame on top of the base, then, it's taller than you originally measured, right? Because if you're just measuring the frame without the base, that is going to be shorter. So basically take that into account when you build it, that you may not need to make your frame as tall as you think you need to make it, because once you add the base with the wheels, it is going to add a little bit of height for you. All right, so this is the frame of this. And what this is it is 2x4s that have been attached together at the corners like this. So you cut the verticals a little bit shorter so that they can fit on top of the horizontals like that. And you get like a gate bracing system. You can get those online, and it's these little corner brackets, and you just screw those in with some exterior screws. Make sure you're using exterior screws on your corners of your wood as well, like this. They're usually gold, at least the brand that we get is usually gold, and they come with a bit. And here's another bracket. You can see this bracing bracket here. So, and we have this middle vertical piece of wood here. All of this is pressure treated just so it is outdoor safe. And this is the basic frame. Now, we're also planning to make a base for this, and we're hoping that we can add wheels to this too, so that we can actually move this around, because the goal is to be able to move it around wherever we want. And again, it's just 2x4 pieces of wood. They're like $5 a piece where I live. And I don't remember the cost of the gate bracing pieces that go in the corners, because it was a kit. But it really helps to make it more stable and sturdy to have those. So if you can get those, that would be great. Otherwise, you might want to build this differently. And what I mean by that is if you don't have the corner braces, you might want to actually make diagonal wood pieces in the middle, either one diagonal across, or keep this middle piece and do a diagonal here and a diagonal here. Hey guys, could you do me a quick favor, pretty please? Could you leave a like underneath this video if you're enjoying it? That way I know which of these videos resonate the most with you guys. Do you need a short, quick guide to get started in wildlife gardening? Well, turns out I've got just the thing. I just came out with a new free ebook just for you, and it's called A Wild Approach to Gardening 101. And it's available on my website today at macylou.com/shop. It's free, so go check it out. What do you have to lose? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some landscape fabric on here, And these boards are not structural or anything, they're just to help actually tighten this landscape fabric across, because we want to really pull it taut. And so that's what that's for. That's just sitting there temporarily. And I showed you the frame, but just to show you what it looks like again, this is what it looks like under the landscape fabric. You can see where these have been attached, these 2x4s, and we're just going to put the landscape fabric over that, and we're going to staple. I'll probably start by stapling the corners and just getting them how I want, and then I'll probably staple along the actual edges. I haven't really decided how many inches apart I'm going to do the staples. I'm just going to do it until it looks good and is as taut as I can get it. And that's what I'm about to do. So, see if I can get it accomplished.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get this at the corner first. Then I'll do one in the middle for now. Okay, so I started stapling it to the frame, the landscape fabric to the frame. And this is kind of what that looks like. Pulling it as taut as I can. It's taking a little bit more time than I thought it would, but it's not that bad. It's just a matter of getting it finagled. It's not perfect, as you can see, but this is just kind of a background layer anyway. You'll see what I do on top of this. Okay, I got this side done. Now I just need to do the other side. And you can see kind of how close together I put them. Like, it's not consistent or anything, but maybe like 4 or 5 inches apart. It varies a lot. Because I was kind of just guessing on what it should be. But yeah, time to do the other side. Here's the staple gun and the staples I use. And as you can see, I've got both of them covered in the landscape fabric. And now I just need to trim off the excess around the edges. And then I will be attaching this reed fencing to it. And you can see how see-through that is. And that's why I put the landscape fabric first, and we'll see how it looks. I'm not sure how that's gonna look together. If I need to, I can just put 2 layers of this on, but I'm hoping 1 will do. We'll see. Okay, so here's what it looks like just laid there. I haven't attached it yet. If I want this to be the bottom, where the base is, I have to push the little canes up a little bit so that we can attach the base. So that's the main thing I have to do before I attach it, is just kind of shove these up just a little bit so they don't get in the way of the base. And that's what it looks like on top of the landscape fabric. You can get a pretty decent idea. And if you didn't like how much you can see it, you could do another layer on top. But I don't think we really need to. I think it looks pretty decent with that fabric behind it. And so now I just need to decide how to attach it, if I'm going to use the staple gun or wire or something else. Alright, so I had to have my husband's help with this because the staple gun and I just don't agree with each other. I was able to staple the landscape fabric on, but not the reed fencing. But here you can see how much like light comes through. And I do plan to add reed fencing and or more landscape fabric to the other side, mostly because of weight, because right now it's heavier on this side. And just so you can see what the other side looks like, it's just the open frame. And so we'll need another layer of reed fencing or landscape fabric, or both. Once you have your landscape fabric stapled down onto your wooden frame, then the next step is to attach the reed fencing. Now, the way that I did this is I did everything on its own side at its own time, which I think really saved me some time, saved me some trouble. In other words, I had my frame, my frame was built, my husband did that part, and I had him lay it down flat on the concrete, and that just made it really easy for me to staple the landscape fabric on. And once I had the landscape fabric on side A, I immediately put the reed fencing on side A. And then when I was ready to do the opposite side on side B, I had him help me stand the wall up against my garage, which you will not see in the video because I forgot to take footage of that. But I stood the wall, he helped me stand the wall up against the garage, leaning it against the garage so that I could staple the landscape fabric to side B. So I just copied the exact same process from side A to side B, stapling the landscape fabric on to the frame, and then attaching the reed fencing to the frame. Now, I had to have him help me staple the reed fencing to the frame because it was a lot harder to staple the reed fencing to the frame than it was to staple the landscape fabric to the frame. So if you need help with this project, don't feel bad. I needed help with this project too. It was a team effort for sure. So after you've got all the landscape fabric attached to your frame, all the reed fencing attached to your frame, now you're going to kind of look at it and decide, okay, are there any pieces of landscape fabric that are askew, anything I need to cut off, any reed fencing I need to prune so that it's a little bit more even? I think I mostly just pushed my reed fencing up from the bottom of the frame just a little bit, just so that it wouldn't interfere at all with the base. You're going to have 2 pieces of 4-foot long wood. These 4-foot long pieces are going to be your base. Now, you can add more wood to this if you want to add more sturdiness and stability than even what we have. Totally understandable. We are not carpenters, we are DIYers. So if you have a better method for the base, totally no problem. Go ahead and do it. But I'll tell you what we did. So we took these 4-foot boards, 2 of them, and those were basically our base. So what we did was we screwed the 4-foot boards to the bottom of the wall. Again, you're going to want the wall to be flat on top of a surface. We put them on top of our patio furniture. You can grab a bunch of your work tables and put all your work tables together. If you have a retaining wall it can sit on, you can sit it on your retaining wall. Something sturdy that you can sit this wall on its side, so that you can elevate it off the ground. Because if you look in the video, you'll see why. When we put the base on, we're screwing it in the center of the 4-foot boards. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the 4-foot board and you're going to turn it vertical, and you're going to put it up against the bottom of your frame, your wall frame, and you're going to screw it in. But don't just screw it in with 2 screws because it will kind of wobble. You're going to want to screw it in with 3 screws in a triangular formation. And I'm going to show you that right here in the video. This gives it a lot more stability and sturdiness than just the 2 screws do. Triangles are great for building things with. In fact, if you have more carpentry skills than we do, you can actually create triangles in the frame itself, but I digress. So, back to the base. The base is really just 2 4-foot pieces of wood attached to the bottom of the wall, centered on that plane, and then 3 screws in a triangle formation on each one. What that means is you're going to have roughly, a little bit less, but roughly 2 feet of wood sticking out the front of your wall and 2 feet of wood sticking out the back of your wall. This creates the base and keeps the wall standing straight up and doesn't just topple over. Now, the last thing you've got to do is you've got to attach the wheels to your base wood. So your base wood were the 4-foot pieces we just talked about that end up being 2 feet off the front and 2 feet off the back of your wall. So keep everything as is and put the wheels on the bottom of your base. And the wheels that we have required 4 screws, I think, to be put in. So again, grab your exterior screws and screw your wheels to your base wood. And remember, these wheels need to have locks on them so that, just for safety reasons, you want your privacy wall to be able to lock in place, especially if you're on a hill like we are. You don't want your wall to just go, rolling down the hill into the street, right? So preferably your wheels will have locks on them. So attach those to your base, and once you do that, you will most likely need help to get everything back the way it's supposed to go. In other words, you need to roll your wall over onto its final position, which is straight up with the base flat on the ground and the wheels on the ground rolling around, right? So go ahead and do that carefully with help if you need it, and roll it around, see how it does, see if it feels sturdy, see if it's standing up straight, see if it feels like it's going to actually work for you. And that should be it. Put it where you want it and then lock the wheels and enjoy your privacy screen. Now, we personally like to put furniture and pots up against it on both sides so that not only does it have its base with the wheels and the wheels are locked, but it also has other stability items up against it, like the pots and the furniture. Because it's just, it's all snug in its little spot, and it keeps it a little bit safer, right? Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some inspiration. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and comment down below. And if you have any other ideas on what somebody could attach to this other than landscape fabric and reed fencing, put those ideas down below too. Just remember, the more they weigh, the more the whole wall will weigh. See you next time. Bye. Hey guys, don't forget to follow me on Blue Sky and Instagram. These are the 2 best social media accounts other than YouTube where you can find me and you can see me post photos of the garden, thoughts on wildlife, and more. So don't forget to follow me over there. Brand new items are now available in the shop. Thanks so much to viewers like you for supporting the channel. To support the channel, like the video, comment, and subscribe. You can also support my work by buying art from me at macylou.com. Thanks for watching!